Hey, what's going on, guys? So I figured to do a little update of the limo. Not a little update, actually a big update. I haven't actually made a video in a while. So I want to go through everything that's been done so far up to this point. It's massive. Massive. So this video might be a little long and might have me talking quite a bit into it, but I think the last video I had was the front axle was not even all the way done, and I got lazy that and I lost my GoPro for a while. I don't know where it went. So the woman finally found it and I figured I'd make a video. Here is the limo. So we'll start off with the front axle. So the axle is all bolted up. I made my purchase. I welded some braces down here. I got my track bar lined up. Springs are in place. I still have some adjusting to do. This spring is actually a little bit crooked. I need to go through there, and actually when I made my track bar, I cut my track bar too long, and so when I made that too long, it actually shifted the axle over a little bit. So I need to move the axle back straight a little bit, about 1.5 to 2 inches. Front axle issues, not much. That was actually the easy one. I made everything up, and then my buddy came over and told me to cut most of it off. More triangulation the better, which is actually a pretty good idea. But the only other issue I had doing that was down here, these top links are actually cast iron, so I had to get cast iron rod to weld that, and that was expensive. Kind of a lesson learned. Cut all that off, weld the crap out of that. I literally just gooped the shit out of that. And to weld cast iron, well, I actually heated it up to certain degrees, and I can't remember off the top of my head, with a torch, and then welded it. And then he said you need to make a subframe, and that's pretty much what I did. So this is my first piece I made right here. Ignore this piece, I'm cutting this off. I was gonna have this come off here, reinforce both sides, but I ended up making a subframe. So links, oh, and shiny ass horns. We'll get to those in a second. So links are on bottom of the subframe, lower links are. Upper links are pretty close to each other, up top there, and that's the front. I just ordered steering today. I'm doing full hydro steer, which if you can tell, here's my ram. And then my subframe. So it came down here, 45, 45, blocked off, bam, 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 all the way down here. And this is pretty cool. That's mainly completed. It's reinforced on the sides here. I've got the bar across there actually to help reinforce it, and it's also for my carrier bearing drop. Pretty thick piece right there. I think that's more than 1/4 inch thick. And then on top of that, here's my rear axle, which I actually had more issues than what I thought I was going to. And it's not prettied up, it's not really all that good looking, but this is what we got. Lower links to the bottom of the subframe, upper links up top, and then my truss. So that truss was actually for a 14 bolt, and I kind of cut it to make it work for the Dana 60. But it's not so pretty, but it works. And holy Watts link, Batman. So the Watts link works pretty good. I didn't really know how to install it, whether I install it fully with the bags deflated or I install it with the bags actually raised up. So I installed it midway up, and it works. I might have to do some adjustment to it. This is what we got. Triple bellow airbags. Take this off because I was welding not that long ago, going through and hitting up some spots. Triple bellow airbags with onboard air. That's right, you heard me. Onboard air. So they lower and raise for the height. So I basically made 2 towers. I call them the twin towers. No disrespect at all. I actually have 2 bars going across up here to reinforce. Oh, 1, 2. And then V'd it across, and then that reinforces that. I have a reinforced brace across this way from that tube, Watts link down there. And this is the rear end, the Dana 660 that's got the 617 gears in it. Yeah, so that explains my front and rear. It's been a pain in the butt. And I forgot what else I was gonna say. But let's get on to the good stuff. So I now have onboard air. Okay, so sorry, I know it's 5 minutes of me so far just talking. Unfortunately, it's gonna be another 5 minutes of me talking. But this is what we got. So I went and bought a cheap onboard air system online. It was like 130 bucks, eBay special. I bought it and it was like, I saw good reviews and people were like, they loved it. Not for this application. So I used the reserve tank from it, but not the compressor. This is what we come up with. This is Harbor Freight, hashtag sponsored, hashtag I wish, just kidding. The Fortress Ultra Quiet Series compressor. It's actually got dual pistons in the back. This thing is extremely quiet. I got it hooked up with the reserve tank for my old airbag system, and then I have an inverter and a ginormous battery, which is also hooked up to this second alternator up front. So essentially you turn this on. It might sound a little loud in the video, but actually in the cab it's pretty quiet. Yeah, and that's as loud as it gets. I think it runs at like 62 decibels, which is pretty quiet. We're gonna insulate this off. Don't worry, I don't wanna hear it, I don't wanna see it or feel it inside the cab. So I got my airlines. This airline here goes to my airbags. That's all I got, a check valve, so just in case this deflates, my airbags won't go flat, they'll stay at the same PSI. And this one goes to my train horn. That's right, my buddy hooked me up with some rewards points he has with a full triple train horn, and it is a loud son of a bitch. I'd play it, let you guys listen to it right now, but I don't want to wake him up and he'll get a little butt hurt. He has to go to bed early and then he wakes up butt crack of dawn. Well, actually before that. But yeah, so this is what we got going on. This system right here, believe it or not, airs up extremely fast. So we're already at 120 PSI as it is right now. But I don't need it up, so I'm actually gonna turn it back off. I got my charger in here just because I was charging batteries. Yes, I still have the rock lights to mount, all the wiring, make it look good. Yeah, I haven't done any of that. Right now it's just been like mounting it up and seeing what happens. But as you can hear, the limo is actually running. So I cut the exhaust off because I had to. To get the towers up there, I had to cut the old mufflers off. And I was thinking about remounting them because I really like how quiet it is. And then I listened to how sweet this thing sounds. This is basically a Mustang engine in it, and I love it. So right now the exhaust, she's right up there. It's actually not too loud as it is. You get on it, it sounds pretty brappy. Not too open because it's got like 20 feet of pipe, but I kind of like it. Let's see. So onboard air. Subframe. Inside, so I have for my onboard air my gauges. So essentially I push it, the green one, if it's hard to see, the green one shows what PSI my bags are at, and the red one shows where my air tank is at, which is nice. So all I do to go air my airbags up, and one-handed down. Simple as that. All hooked up, easy to play with. I'm good to go. So I had a couple issues, and I think we got them figured out. I had some brake line issues because this is a metric style brake fitting on the car, going to a standard style fitting on the axles. It's an M10x1 by a 3/16 brake fitting. Pain in the butt to find, and I think I got it figured out. I'm just double flaring the ends on them and slapping them on. Well, I'm actually having the Midas to shop do them because I used the double flare fitting thing. Don't judge me, but it took crap on me, and I was like, you know, I'm done with this crap. So, but as you can see, we have our full length drive shaft. This is the stock drive shaft, believe it or not. So I thought I was gonna need at least an 8 to 10 inch longer drive shaft. See, I put this bar at a little bit of an angle for the carrier bearing, help it out a little bit. But we don't. This drive shaft is actually perfect. They hooked us up with Ungade. Oh my god, I cannot pronounce their name. Ungaldi drive shafts. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I screw it up all the time when I'm trying to tell people. I don't know why I can't pronounce it. Okay, they hooked me up and did me such a favor by getting that right combination joint and all 4 U-joints in there for a great price and a great deal. Liz down there in Klamath Falls, she knows what she's doing. I am extremely happy with their work. Fast response. And upon talking to her, she actually wanted to sponsor me because we thought we needed the drive shaft longer. And so I mocked it in there. And then I was like, actually, I don't need the drive shaft longer. It only came out like 3/4 inch to an inch. And she's like, oh, well, cool. Well, you know, I'll give you a little bit of a discount on this one and yada, yada, yada. But then I was wondering, what takes to get this limo sponsored? So I think I actually have a couple unofficial, official sponsors. Maybe, I don't know. I've never asked for people to sponsor my crap before, but if it goes right, that would be pretty cool. So that's pretty much the gist of the limo. Long story short, the front end went well. The rear end was a pain in the butt. I hurt my hand on the rear end. I had to go to the hospital for that and get a couple, some glue and some stereo strips on it. That's embarrassing. And then, yeah, that's long story short. So the rear tires do turn. We jacked it up, we turned them, has no issues with that at all. And next I'm waiting for my steering and the rest of my brake lines. So coming up soon, I ordered my steering today. Well, I paid for it and the shop's ordering it for me. That way they get the right one. I'm nervous ordering parts I've never ordered online before, just because if it's the wrong one, then you got to return it and wait, yada yada yada. But there's a Memorial Day parade coming up at the end of May, and I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to make this work and drive for the parade. I think it won't be a problem. Brake lines and steering, virtually it should move and drive just like that. We will see though if I run into any other issues, but this is kind of where it's at. I know it looks pretty freaking hokey right now. There's a lot of pieces and odds and ends that are just kind of sticking out here and there. But you gotta imagine, I gotta spend some time cleaning this up, cutting pieces, moving this, covers, all kinds of stuff, just to make it look a little bit more presentable. But this is the limo on 53-inch tall tires by 16 wide on 20 by 14 wheels with roughly, don't quote me, 4 feet of lift. I don't even know how big of a lift this thing is. So if you guys like the video, like it and subscribe. I promise I'll do more videos. I have been a lazy piece of crap and I've just been so focused, spending 8 hours plus a day working on this, busting my butt. And you know, whenever you do a project, there's always like the big humps you have to get over, and then there's the little humps you have to get over. It's been the little humps to make big humps. My big humps on this thing, easy peasy. It's the little things. Brake lines, miscellaneous steering parts, miscellaneous lines, linkages, adapters. Adapters is the one that kills me. So if you guys like this video, please like it, and you'll see more of the limo coming up soon, and I'll go through more of it. Thank you guys. Peace.